All right, guys, welcome to the first Booted podcast. My name is Alex. I'm here with Vadim, and we're just going to get started. Vadim, what's our first topic?
All right, guys, we're going to start with our first topic, and it's whether Trump is a legitimate candidate. So let's ask Alex what he thinks about Trump.
I think he's becoming more of a legitimate candidate than I think most people gave him credit for, including myself. I thought he was a joke, complete joke. At points, he's proving, that right, but at the same time, it seems like he's definitely in the lead. I mean, that goes without saying, but I don't know if he could actually keep it up continuously. It just doesn't seem like he can.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question. What do you think makes him a good candidate? Because I don't see it. I really don't. I don't think he's a good candidate. I think he's a joke. I think he's a clown. And I just don't see him going any further than where he is now.
I don't know if I would say he's a good candidate. I think he's speaking to a certain demographic that absolutely thinks he's saying the right thing. He's saying the thing that they want to hear. He's saying he's saying it in the right tone. That's the thing. You could be stupid, and I'm not saying necessarily he is. I don't think he is, but I'm saying you could be stupid, but if you say something with influence, people are going to go, maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows something that I don't, because he's saying something stupid, but he's saying it with such confidence.
He definitely knows something that no one else does. It just seems like it.
Right, but it seems like he's saying it with such confidence that it makes you think that he's like, there's something behind the madness, in a sense. It sounds like, it's like he'll say something crazy like, hey, they're all rapers. Maybe? It's like, well,
I don't think so.
He's so confident.
I don't think so. I think it's a big facade. I think he's put in on the show, and people are buying it. And to me, it just sounds ridiculous.
Okay,
that he's a legitimate candidate. Come on.
Okay, let me ask you this: why do you think he's running then? If you're saying he's not legitimate and it's a joke, why do you think he's running? Do you think he thinks that he has an actual chance, or do you think it's something else?
I don't think he thinks he has an actual chance of winning the Republican nomination. I think why he's actually doing it is in secret to really support Hillary Clinton once he resigns from this candidacy. I think truly that's what it is. He used to contribute money to her campaign, and I still think no matter what, even if he talks shit about her or her policies, I still think that really he is secretly in the closet still supporting Hillary Clinton. So once his presidency run is over, he's going to support her.
I don't know. Well, the thing is,
so all of the people that are voting for him right now, virtually, not physically, obviously, because the election hasn't started yet, I think that he may direct them over to Clinton. That's just my opinion.
Well, first of all, when he donated money, Clinton was only one of the people that he donated to. She wasn't the sole one. It's just everyone focuses on it because he's running on the Republican ticket, not the Democratic ticket. So because of that, it's making big news about that. But in reality, he donated to a lot of people. Basically, anyone that he could give money to and have some kind of influence on.
True. I agree with you, because he's like a mini oligarch. Obviously, he has to donate funds to campaigns that are probably on both sides, Democrat and Republican, so that they do favors for him.
Right,
I mean, come on, everybody knows that.
Right, but that's where I disagree with you. If he's giving money to everyone, I don't understand why he would specifically do a whole campaign and be the front runner on the Republican Party just so that he could transfer all of the momentum that he has over to Hillary. I just don't understand why that would be.
Well, in my opinion...
And first of all, I don't think he even imagined that he could be possibly leading the Republican candidacy.
Well, I don't know if he
But I think now that
imagined.
he's there,
Well, I don't know if he did or if he didn't. But the whole point is not only does he get to build his brand further, he also has an opportunity once he stops running to support another candidate of his choosing. Do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, but that would, if anything, that would hurt him because he basically focused on, I mean, a certain type of demographic that really doesn't focus on Clinton. I mean, if anything, it's anti-Clinton completely. So if he comes out and goes, oh yeah, you know what, I'm not going to win, but if you're going to vote for me, then you should really vote for Hillary, which Hillary, they don't stand on the same issues at all.
I see what you're saying, but if Hillary runs on a similar stance as Trump, she can gain those voters. You know, yet again, I'm not saying that this is 100% that this is how it's going to play out.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like it is. It really sounds like a theory without too much basis, at least in my opinion.
But I'll tell you this, Trump really is a clown. I mean, you know, he says that he cares about people, right? And, you know, I think he does care about people. I think he cares about the people that are around his circle. People who have a lot of money, who really don't give a shit about the average Joe. It's a facade that he's putting on. He's putting on a show. And he also said that he's anti-China. And then he turns around in one of his speeches and actually says that he has a meeting with business people from China. So how can you trust a candidate, you know, that tells you one and then tells you another?
Unlike every other candidate, right?
Well, I don't disagree with that, but to say that Trump is a legitimate guy, he cares about the average Joe.
But that's not what they're saying.
Come on.
That's not what they're saying.
Let's get real.
That's not what they're saying. When they're talking about legitimate, what they're actually talking about is that he says whatever is on his mind. And honestly, to that, I would actually agree. I think some of the things he said, really hard to write for. He's not using any kind of prompter. He's just whatever comes into his mind, whatever he thinks, he actually says. And, you know, at points, it gets him in trouble. At other points, people are like, hell yeah. And the fact is that he never apologizes. There's people who are loving that. They are amazed by how they could possibly have like this candidate who, without filter, says whatever he thinks. Doesn't matter how wrong or politically incorrect it sounds, or just whatever, just basically wrong. It's still, he just holds on to that. Whatever he says about anyone, I'm gonna hold on to it. And there's definitely people who react to that. And they're like, this is the type of candidate that we wanted. That was actually one of the big reasons for Bush. Bush, the reason why people liked him so much was that, hey, I could have a beer with him. It was that, like, he related to people more. And, you know, Donald Trump doesn't relate in that respect.
Well, of course.
But he relates in terms of he knows what he's doing. And he basically says that. But just, this is my opinion. I think that he did not think that he's going to be where he's at right now. But I think now that he's actually leading for a while, it hasn't been a week. It has been basically since he announced that he's been leading, that I think he actually believes now that he can win, that is the actual feasible thing that he can accomplish.
Well, I think that if he was a legitimate candidate where he was chosen by the Republican Party to run, I think that he would win. But the problem is that there's someone named Jeb Bush.
Yes.
And when you have a Bush running for presidency, usually they win. And he has a lot of backing by corporations, by the Republicans. And even though the reputation of the Bush family isn't pristine, his wife is Hispanic. And I think specifically, I believe she's Mexican. So, as a Republican candidate, Jeb Bush, in my opinion, has the support of most Latinos.
Do you think that the Republican Party does not want Donald Trump to win or get the nomination, I should say?
I don't think that they necessarily care whether he gets the nomination or Jeb Bush gets the nomination in the sense of politics, because yet again, I think it's a front that that Trump is putting on. It's really a front. I don't think that this is his real political, that these are real political goals that he has. I just think that he's a clown and he's looking for that attention from people. And you're right, that's the reason why people love him, because he doesn't have a filter. He says whatever he wants to say. He doesn't apologize. He's not politically correct. So I don't think a legitimate candidate who actually cared about his candidacy would do such a thing. It just, to me, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, in my opinion, his days are numbered, and he's going to quit either via scandal, or he's going to run out of money.
Do you really think
something else?
Do you really think that there's a scandal that could possibly make him leave? Do you believe that there's a...
Sure. I mean, the media, they come up with scandals all the time. Do we know for a fact that they're real?
Right, but
No.
the character that he made for himself is unapologetic. He's a guy who has been married a bunch of times. He doesn't take crap from anybody, and he laughs everything off, or he makes fun of you, or he calls you a name. So I think it would be very, very difficult for somebody to throw dirt at him because he's sort of covered in it.
I disagree, because he's covered in dirt from the liberal stance, from the democratic stance. But if you dig up dirt that will hurt him in the Republican sense, for example, he says that he is against abortion, for example, and then someone records him saying that he's actually for abortion. Well, the crowd of people that are for Trump are religious people,
but
religious Christians who will at any point of time disown him if he is for abortion.
But to your point, but the point you're trying to make right now, it doesn't necessarily fly, because he used to be, and this is open to anyone, this is not hidden or anything like that, he used to be for Democrats. He used to give money to Democrats. He used to be very pro-Democrats. So at this point, to act as if like, oh, well, there's no way to find anything about him saying pro-Democrat, things that he wants to do, things that he wants to accomplish. No, it's very easy. The whole point is that he could say anything he wants and still get away with it, because it's about what he says now with him, and that's the character that he created. It's the character that he has done himself. But I just don't see anything that they could come up with. Like, oh, you said this. He's like, well, things happen, and then move on. Make fun of the guy who said it and just move on. That was it.
I completely disagree with you on that. And the reason is simple. He's running for the president of the United States. But remember, we have two parties. So he is in the good with the Republican Party, and teabaggers, or whatever they want to call themselves, the Tea Party, they love him.
Right. That's
ultra
literally my point.
Conservative Christians.
That's what we're
love
talking about.
him.
We're talking about
if
them.
he makes a mistake with them, they will drop him so fast.
No, but we're talking about the skeletons that he has in his closet.
Oh,
and I'm saying there's no scandal that he could do. He's already said all the things they wanted to hear. It's if they could bring something up from before, because before that he said contradicting things, but they don't care about that. It's what he says now and how confident he is in what he says. And the thing is, again, people want to watch him. If you look at all the debates, the reason why they're the highest rated basically ever is because of him. It's because people are genuinely interested in what he has to say, whether it be a funny, crazy, or interested party that wants to watch him. But he gets that crowd, and he gets Republicans, and I just don't see anything that could really throw him off in that respect. I could see him being thrown off by other things, but not necessarily.
Well, let's agree to disagree on this, because I believe that there's always a chance that the media can throw a wrench into his candidacy and just end it right then and there. But
right, yeah,
that's
I disagree with that,
We have different opinions on this.
Right, okay, but let me ask you this, though. Do you think that Bush will start making resurgence? Because I don't even know if it's a resurgence, because I don't know if he was leading the polls at a certain point. Because, I mean, he has been getting his butt kicked by pretty much everyone that says any controversial thing. I mean, right now it's Ben Carson, but I don't think anybody is really thinking Ben Carson is going to be the next big thing, just because he falls asleep every time he gives a speech.
Wow.
So, what do you think? When do you think he's going to make a push?
Well, the question is Ben Carson the real black candidate?
Real black candidate. Who would be?
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like Obama is half white and half black.
Well, he's not running though.
No, I'm not saying that he has to run. All I'm saying is Obama's not really considered the real black president.
Who's considered the real black president? Clinton?
Well, maybe. maybe Clinton is more black than Obama.
I think definitely by most people Obama would be considered it.
Well, the thing is,
he's from Kenya, so
I don't know where he's from. I don't know.
On,
I have
man.
no clue. How am I supposed to know where he's from? I don't know where he's from. I'm not saying he's from here or he's from there. I'm just saying I don't know.
Don't start the birther movement.
Hey,
again,
listen. Based on people's reports, he was born in Hawaii.
Right.
Okay. Whatever. Doesn't matter where he was born, in my opinion. But the thing here is that Jeb Bush is a big name.
Yes.
We agree on that.
Yes.
He has a lot of support from the Republican. From the Republican side.
Yes.
So that's two. Now,
but you know what? There are contradicting things to that. For example, Ben Carson, in the last, I think it was just recently released that he got like $20 million in last quarter in donations, whereas Jeb Bush got like $13 million. So he's not even winning that race. So at what point do you think, or how, or when do you think Jeb Bush is actually going to be able to start making a move? Like, does he have to wait for them to fumble, or can he just do it on his own, because people are going to be like, you know what, we need a more serious candidate?
In my theory, I think he can do either. But I think in reality what's going to happen is one by one these candidates are going to drop like flies, whether it's the fact that they don't have enough money, whether they're too old and they're about to have a heart attack, I don't know. But one by one, they're all going to drop like flies, and Bush is going to upgrade his political stance, and he is going to be the front runner. That's just my opinion. I think that's what's going to happen. And he has, his secret sauce. And what I mean by secret sauce is his wife. His wife is Mexican, as far as I know. And that speaks loudly to the liberal democratic population.
Right. You're absolutely right. I want to cut you off just for one reason, though. Because we're talking about the Republican nomination. There's not that many Latinos that are Republicans who are going to be voting in that election to get whoever is going to be on the Republican ticket. So for that reason, that isn't really going to be a big help for Bush in that ticket.
Well,
I mean,
I disagree with you.
if anything, it might have actually even hurt him.
I know.
Like
I disagree with you.
In the primary, you're absolutely right. It's a huge boost, and that is absolutely, like, I mean, you have a lot of Latinos, and they will relate to her way more than they will relate to the other side. But there's still that thing that he has to get the nomination.
But remember, the Republican Party wants to put out a candidate that has the best chances of winning the presidency. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
But they don't vote. That's the thing. They don't vote.
So, and I think that that's going to change for this election. I think they're going to come out more and vote for him. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that essentially that's going to be the difference. But let's just stop there. In my opinion, Jeb Bush is really the chosen guy. You know, you can say whatever you want about this or about that, about how much money he has raised, about his wife or whatever. This is the guy who comes from a family of presidents. Come on, let's get real.
But if you take a look at every other election when Bush ran, okay, they were always leading. I'm not talking about in the general election. I'm talking about specifically leading in the primaries. You know, it's like we haven't seen necessarily this before, where a Bush is coming back from behind to win in a Republican candidacy. That doesn't happen too often. So
well, I see what you're saying, but you have to change things up. You know, you can't always make it obvious that the Bush is going to win. But I'll tell you this, in my opinion, the Bush is going to win again. And that's what it's going to be. He's going to be the next president of the United States, just based off of my theory. And of course, Obama came out and said that he would love to be the next president. So he would love to stay another term because he's having so much fun. No, I'm just bringing that in. If he had power to run again and win, he thinks that he could. Basically what he said, if he was running right now, he'd win again. And to be honest with you, he probably would. If he ran again versus the opposition that's around right now, that's including Hillary, including Bernie Sanders, including everyone else on the Republican side, which is like 50 people or something, I think he could beat him pretty handily. I just don't think anybody could actually challenge him in that respect. I completely and utterly disagree with you. He has a low rating. People don't trust him.
Yeah, but people were saying that.
And rednecks are rednecks. So let's keep it there.
People actually do like him, and people do actually think that he actually has done good, to act as if it's like if he would run again, because people were saying the same thing the second time he was running. Oh, there's too much shade on him, people threw too much shit at him, there's no way he could win. And again, he won. The idea, your theory has to hold water only once Jeb Bush starts actually going up. Right now, what you're saying basically is, trust me, he's going to win. Right now, there's nothing what you've said that could actually prove to be the winner. So I mean, again, the biggest thing that he has is his name. Literally, that's the biggest name that he has. The biggest thing that he has.
All I have to say is, trust me, he is going to win. The next president of the United States of America is Bush, Jeb Bush. Hey, comedians, start writing jokes right now.
Yeah, I see. Again, it's a good theory, but until he starts going up in polls, that's all it'll stay.
Well, I gave you my prediction. What's your prediction?
My prediction, I actually don't know. I think it's coming down to Trump for the Republican side, but I think Hillary probably is going to take it. I think Hillary, she's still beating everybody else. She's literally beating.
Okay,
everybody.
hold on,
She's beating the Republican
hold
side.
on a second.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton is a Democratic
Yes.
candidate.
Yes.
So you just mentioned Trump, and you just mentioned that she's gonna take it. So
I said no. I said the whole thing. I said.
so
I
you,
think-
you're
I think-
saying
I think
you're
that-
saying
I
that
think
Hillary
that
Clinton is
Trump-
gonna be
I think Trump is
president
going
of the
to-
United States.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Well, she's okay. She's leading right now. She's
Because
leading.
she has no competition.
So what does that have to do with it? That's-
You have
No, but she's leading overall. She's not leading only the Democrats. She's leading overall.
you have what, Bernie Sanders, that everyone is saying that he is socialist. Who's
But
gonna,
he's also saying that he's a socialist.
well,
He's a
whatever.
socialist
Maybe
Democrat.
he's confused. I don't know. But the problem is, who's gonna vote for him? Who's gonna vote for a
People-
socialist in the United States of America?
Quite a few people.
They're
I think-
idiots.
I think
If
you'd be-
that's the
I
case,
think
they're
you'd be
idiots.
Surprised. I think you'd be surprised.
Okay, that's fine. If that's the case, they're stupid idiots.
I don't know. Your
My opinion.
Your point seems weird just because it contradicts like for example, like if they vote for Trump, they're not idiots. So
I'm not saying they're not idiots.
Okay, so
I'm
who-
saying they're
who would-
idiots
who would-
as well.
okay,
there
who
are no
would-
good candidates.
so basically, people are idiots that vote.
pretty much.
Okay, that's weird.
Pretty much. Pretty
That's
much.
weird.
If they did not vote, if no one voted, then that means that they can't elect a president, or based on the candidates, they would need to insert candidates that people actually like, that they actually trust.
But wouldn't that mean that Obama will continue to stay president if no one voted?
Well, interim, I agree with you.
Yeah,
He
but
would have to
they
stay.
wouldn't go like, oh well, you didn't like them, let us give you somebody else. They would just go like, all right, well, we're gonna try it again.
Well, try again until you succeed. But what I'm trying to say is simply these candidates are liars. I mean,
That's
you know,
been part of politics since politics
well,
created.
But that's really the issue here. But so you're taking Clinton for president.
I think she's going to win. I'm
With-
not.
with-
That's not who I'm going for.
With the Benghazi scandals, with her server scandals.
Right, but you got to remember when
Come
the
on.
election is actually coming up. The fact of it is that they're all talking about it right now, and right now she's still beating everybody. With everything being fresh in people's mind right now, and she's still beating everybody. In 6 months from now, people will not be talking about it. People are going to be, or I shouldn't say they're not going to be talking about it. It's just going to be a much smaller story, and then she's going to be even winning by even much more than that. So
with all the scandals like Benghazi, when she was asked by when she was being interviewed by Congress and asked about the scandal and the details,
yeah, but we're not going
she
to.
just pretty
we're
much
not,
said,
we're not going to
well,
go into that.
why
Come
does it
on.
matter?
Come on, we're not going to
It's
go
like
into
why
that.
why does it matter that people got killed? I mean,
Yeah, we're not going to
yeah,
go into
yeah.
that. It's too long of a conversation, and there's literally has been no
But
proof of
I
her
don't
doing
think
anything
I don't
nefarious.
think I really don't think that she's going to be the next president of the United States. She has too much dirt. I think that the media is going to run with it, and it has run with it. I mean, I don't think people trust her, and they shouldn't. You know, they shouldn't trust her.
But you're basically saying people shouldn't trust anybody. So to point
Yes,
out specifically about Hillary Clinton, they
Especially
shouldn't trust her.
Especially her.
Especially her. I have no
Especially.
clue why. If you're saying you can't trust any of them, I don't know. You're saying the other ones you sort of can.
Well, no, I'm not saying that other candidates are necessarily better, but we know that she's worse.
How do we know that she's
Just
worse?
based on the scandals, based on the
The
lies.
scandals, no, but
Hey.
the scandals could be argumentative in terms of they're created not by her, they're created by other people who want to get dirt on her.
All
and
right.
the thing is, the guy who was going to replace Boehner just came out and said,
Boehner
hey,
or Boner?
all right, okay, Boehner. The guy that was going to replace Boehner, he came out and he basically gave his qualifying reason for being there, and he actually said, yeah, I was the guy who basically set up everything so that the Benghazi thing is going to make Hillary Clinton look really bad, and you can see it's sticking on her. So I mean, it's obvious what the right was trying to do, and they accomplished it. They did a really great job with it, because even the fact that there's no proof, if you repeat something over and over again, people are going to remember that. So you know what? Let's not continue on with this, because we're completely going off track. let's see, what do we have for our next topic?
Wait. Let's just end at this. So your prediction is Hillary Clinton for president.
Yes.
In 2016.
Yes.
My prediction is Jeb Bush. I guess we'll see what happens.
There you go. I'm with you.
Let's move on to our next controversial topic: equal pay for women. So I don't know. You tell me. Do you really think that women are not being treated equally in the workforce, which I'm sure some women will make that claim, and then two, do you believe that women for some reason are making less than men?
I don't believe women are making less than men, generally speaking. I think if anything, I think it's actually starting to go the other way. I think that feminists especially love to throw certain figures around where it's like, hey, look, she's not actually getting paid as much, and she's not, and those numbers have been disproven over and over and over again, but the feminists really want to push them in a certain way. The fact of it is that women have actually reached equality already with men. Yes, at points you could always find a small business and point to it and go, hey, they didn't pay this person this much. And can you find really a corporation that's doing that? Can you find a big corporation where you're like, hey, Coca-Cola is not actually doing this, Coca-Cola is not doing that? And if you're really thinking that, you know, at least the one thing that I always hear is, hey, you know what? Women are not CEOs. Women are not presidents. You know, there's just not a lot of them out there. And the truth of the matter is, that's correct. Imagine if I had the power, with the flick of my finger, I was able to make equality happen for women right now, okay? If I did it right now, would that mean that, you know, Ford would go to half of their employees and go like, you guys are fired and we're going to put women in those positions? No, equality would mean that once it gets to their time, so let's say a person leaves Ford, now men and women apply and they have equal opportunity to get the job. Sometimes men will get it, sometimes women will get it, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing women get into higher positions on a regular basis. We're seeing them CEOs, we're seeing them as presidents, we're seeing them as high executive positions. So the idea that somehow equality is not here is basically this thing that if you just say it over and over again, you think that it's actually true.
No, I definitely agree with you. I've worked for corporations, and women were leading the entire floor. You know what I mean? So to say that this particular woman, she's not making as much money as the male counterpart, well, how do you determine that? What do you base it on? You know, I mean, what are you basing on? The fact that she's just a woman? And you know, she's going up against a man. I mean, there's so many different qualifications that you have to look at. Experience, you know, your degree, where you got your degree. You know, maybe people who received their degree from Harvard are making more money than people who received it from UCLA. Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be a factor as well. And to say that women are making less than men, for example, in entertainment, women are coming out and saying, well, I'm making less than my male counterpart. Well, what's his resume compared to your resume? And the other question is, did your agent, right, negotiate the right deal for you?
Right.
If you're dumb enough to take the first deal that the studio gives you, well, that's your problem.
Well,
right?
Well, absolutely. When you look at the entertainment industry, for example, right now, and you look at Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, those women are making outrageous money. And they're not complaining, well, I'm the counterpart. I don't even know who to be a real counterpart to them. I think they are probably the highest paid in entertainment, or at least some of the highest paid. And you can't really go like, well, you know, they're not. And the thing is, they have the right people around them that are getting them that. And if you're an actress and you're thinking that somehow, well, I'm getting underpaid, it's your fault. It really is. I mean, if you have a lot of force behind you, meaning you have like a resume that shows, hey, this is what I did, this is how much my movies make, guess what, they're going to pay you. I remember Cameron Diaz was making like, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was like over $20 million for the Shrek movies because they were all doing so well. No one was arguing, oh man, well, she should be getting paid way more than that.
It's funny, feminists never argue when it's fair pay. They always argue when they feel like, the woman has been wronged in any situation. They never argue the positive. They always argue the negative. And the negative, in most cases, in my opinion, whether it's pay, whether it's bullshit claims about how a guy raped a woman, and it's not even the case. They argue those points that society is geared towards men and not women. Are you serious? Whenever a guy and a girl goes on a date, let me see, who picks up the bill? The guy. Right. When's the last time a guy expected for a woman to pick up the bill or to even split the bill? When has that happened?
Well, it does happen. It happens rarely,
but there's no expectation of it.
Yes, usually
guys don't expect it. I mean, if you want to be equal, which you can't, physiologically, physically, or even mentally, you can't be equal on those terms. But socially, you can be equal, but you won't even do that. Right. You won't expect to split the bill or pick up the... Well, picking up the bill means there's an inequality, but even splitting the bill 50-50, you girls won't even want to do that.
But that's the thing. It seems like it's actually going the other way at this point. It's actually going towards the feminist position where women are becoming the 60 and we're becoming the 40. And the thing is, you could take a look at it very easily in terms of, for example, what you were talking about in terms of dating. It's like there's certain things that women want, and it's like, okay, so you go on a date, you open the door for her, you pay for the date, you walk her to her car or to her apartment, whatever the case is, but you have these things that you are supposed to do, like pull out the chair for her and so on, and that's expected. But when it can't be 50-50 when the expectation is that. And then when I would ask, well, what would be expected from a woman? What should a woman do in that respect? And the truth of the matter is, most women go like, well, she just should be there. She should be just whatever, look pretty or something.
Well, okay. So the girl is supposed to,
yeah, exactly.
Come out, and be beautiful, dress nice, smell nice, but that's not how it should be. If a woman expects for me to pay for everything, to take her out, to wine and dine her, to show her a good time, then I expect certain things from her. I expect for her to want to clean, want to cook, take care of me when I need for her to take care of me. I mean, let's get real. So the guy's responsibility has never faded. But women, as time progressed and as the feminist movement progressed, women are not expected to do anything except for look pretty.
Absolutely.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
This is the example that I gave my friends over and over again already. But it's this thing that if I was to go with, let's say, my girlfriend onto a popular show when, let's say, Oprah was around. Let's say I would go onto her show and she would go there. And she would stand up and she would go, okay, you know what? A man's job is, and she would start listing off, a man's job is to pay for the date, a man's job is to kill the spider, it's supposed to fix things around the house, take out the trash, and just a bunch of different things that that a woman lists, and everyone in the crowd, including the men, would clap for that. They would go, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what a man should do." Now, I would stand up and I go like, okay, and a woman's job is, and before I'm able to even finish that sentence, I could predict that pretty much people are going to be ready, like, okay, you're about to say something wrong. You're about to, how can you possibly have any expectations for women? If I would continue that, okay, well, a woman's job is to cook the meals? Oh, no, that's wrong. If I said, what about clean? Oh, that's wrong. If I said anything, like, literally, there's basically nothing that I could expect from a woman without getting booed on that kind of stage, because that's not what it's expected. You're not, like, a woman is not supposed to cook anymore. A woman's not supposed to clean, like, take care of the house. It's not, there is no 50-50. Yet, men are expected to do all the things that are there. Like, you're always supposed to do that. You're always supposed to, have your side taken care of. Well, that's not 50-50 anymore.
No,
now
not even close.
Yeah, now women are getting the benefit of the gentleman, but we're not getting the benefit of a lady.
I just love how women save their paycheck, buy clothing for themselves with their own money, while we men spend money on them.
Yes.
We know it's ridiculous. When we go out, I pay. He doesn't want to pay. I mean, even if she's making a little less or more than me, she's not expected to pay.
Right.
And she won't pay.
Right.
Because she knows. Women are smart when it comes to things like this. They realize, why should I pay for my men or even pay half when I can save my share and buy shoes that cost $200-$300.
You're absolutely right in that respect, but I would probably not say that it's something that women are thinking logically. I think it's more that, hey, this is the way I was raised. This is the way my mom did it. This is the way my grandmother did it. We're not supposed to spend money. We're not really supposed to do anything like that. We're supposed to basically look pretty, go out on a date. And the difference between their mom and their grandparents is that they used to do the extra stuff. They used to do the cleaning. They used to do the cooking around and stuff like that. So that doesn't exist anymore. So now the only thing a girl is supposed to do is look pretty, and they're not even doing it a lot of times for the guys. They're doing it for other women because they don't want to be judged by other women.
And let's get real, girls. Okay, how many of you are attractive to a point where you can land any guy? Come on, let's get real. Okay, majority of women are not attractive. It's true.
Whoa,
hey, it's true. It's true.
Majority of women are not attractive. No,
majority.
Come on.
I think.
I don't. First of all, I don't even know what this has to do even with the conversation.
I think it's 60. I think it's 60-40.
I don't even know where that even has to do with the conversation.
Hey,
I completely disagree with you on that.
Okay, well, you can disagree what you want. You can disagree on anything you want, but my opinion is 60-40. 60% of women are not attractive. That's just my opinion. Hey,
I think you have a really high degree of attractiveness if that's what you really believe.
It is what it is. But what I'm trying to get at
it's not what it is. It's what you think it is.
Listen, not all women can get away with not, paying their share, making sure that they only take care of themselves. No, I don't think so. So I feel as though women should learn more of the traditional skills and be women. Okay. I'm going to stop you there because I think it's not necessarily like what you're saying. I think women have to choose which way they're going to go. Either you're going to go with the feminist movement that it's 50-50 and actually be 50-50. So no opening the door, no men being the man doesn't have to do the rest. The man doesn't have to pay for the date. The man doesn't have to approach you to ask you out. It should be literally 50-50, and that's what it should be. But if you're not for that, then it has to be the other way around, where a woman takes the role of a traditional marriage where a woman cooks and cleans, takes care of the house and so on. So if that's the case, then go for that. But you have to speak up. You can't be in the middle of it going like, I want the equality, but I also want the extras. You can't. It's one or the other. And that's basically where it's at least for me. Well, definitely agree with you on that. You ladies, you can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? You can't have it this way and you can't have it that way. You can't have the guy taking care of you, and then when he comes home after work, for him to also cook for you at the same time and clean for you and do everything that you expect for him to do, and you just lay there pretty doing nothing. You can't do that. You can't expect both. And I'll give you an example. I dated this girl for a month, and she told me what she expected of me. So she wanted this, she wanted that, she wanted the other, and pretty much they were all male roles. And then when it came down to it, when I asked her, so if we would get married, would you cook? She said, well, why can't you cook? And I'm like thinking about it, but wait a second, you're asking me to do A, B, C, and also D, and then E, and then F, and then, I mean, like, am I a robot? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Come on, you can't have it this way and that way.
So yeah, so you hear,
So
ladies,
I agree.
this young bachelor
I agree
here,
with Alex.
he's telling you need to pick, and you need to be honest with him and tell him up front what you want. Either you want it one way or the other way, and he could then tell you what he wants from you.
Well, that depends if I like you. If I like you, then you can tell me one way or another.
Yeah,
if I don't
and
like
by the
you,
way,
I don't give
you,
a shit.
And by the way, you got to remember, he thinks most of you are ugly, so just walk away.
Hey, listen.
Just walk away, all right?
Listen. The truth is the truth. Whether you want to face it or not, in my opinion, it's just an opinion.
It's your truth. Let's put it that way.
It's my truth.
It's your truth.
100%.
Okay, you know what? Okay, so
100%. 60% of the women are not attractive. 40% are. I'll stick with a 40. Somebody else will take
by the way,
60.
at this point, I do want to tell you that he is blind since birth. So you have to take his opinion with a little salt in there.
Okay, blind in a different way.
All right. Okay.
But pretty much going back to the feminism movement in America, at a point in the 60s when the feminist movement originated, I agree with it. It made sense to me. But to tell you the truth, in the modern era, right now, feminism is really obsolete. There's no need for feminism at all.
In the United States, maybe.
In the United States. What are these feminists fighting for? And I'll give you a good scenario as to why I think this is BS. For example, this is very interesting, and this happened recently. There's this college student, a girl or a young woman. She supposedly got raped. And the reason I'm saying that she supposedly got raped, because she's a dumbass. And I'll start with that. But what happened was, she went to a party. She got shit-faced, drunk. Okay? And that's what college students do. She wakes up and she sees that there's a guy on top of her having sex with her. Okay? To say that he raped you, I don't know about that. The thing is that she was drunk. She should have been responsible. And they're all drunk. It's not as if she was the only one that was drunk. The guy probably was drunk as well. So why say that he raped her? Maybe she raped him. But he's not reporting that because he's a guy. Well, the only reason she's reporting it is because she's a girl. She made the bad decision there. She got drunk. It's not as if she was sober and the guy forced himself on her. She probably even gave consent to the guy to do so.
Well, it is wrong, the new rule that colleges have, which is basically, and I think it's only in California, I'm not really sure about this, but basically if you're drunk, you have to get consent, which is basically that's not rape. When both people are drunk and they do stupid stuff, that's not really rape. You're there, you're not forced to be there, you're not forced to drink, and And the truth of the matter is that the guy is as drunk as you are. So when you decide to do something stupid together, like sleep together, he didn't rape you because he's the guy. It just, one doesn't go necessarily with the other. But at the same time, going back to what you were saying in terms of the feminist movement not being needed at all in the United States. What I would suggest is this: not necessarily that you don't have to be in the United States, because there are small businesses out there. Like if you go somewhere, in the boondocks or something like that, you'll find a certain business who's like, I'm not gonna hire any women, or women should do this, or women should be paid this. You will definitely find them, and that's where, if you're a feminist movement, that's where you should be. You should find those nicks and crannies where you basically are able to do some good, because you can do some good in that department. But to try to go after the general idea that women somehow are still not equal to men in some way is ridiculous, and the only thing you're doing is going the other way. And I think at a certain point, men will step up and go like, wait a second. It's going too much the other way now, where we're becoming second-class citizens, and women are going, well, wait a second, now, we just want equality. And it's sort of going the other way, and we have to make sure that we're on the same page, because if not, what you're trying to accomplish will become a negative thing, not a positive thing.
Well, where's the feminist movement when it comes to Syria and Iraq? The ISIS organization, or ISIL, constantly degrades women, rapes women. Where are they? Where are they denouncing ISIS? I don't think I've heard.
That's
I haven't heard that.
That's sort of the hypocrisy that exists.
Yeah.
Where the excuse that they use for, especially the Middle East, when they do horrific things to women, is, well, that's their culture. They'll play that one video of a woman.
Joke.
Right, absolutely. But they'll play that one video of a Middle Eastern woman going, but this is what I want. I don't need to be free. I don't need to do whatever. What you think is good is not good for me. And that's the video that they'll play over and over again going, see, she's happy with it. No, she's not. She was born into that idea. That's the thing. If you're not born into it, and you're open-minded to things, and if you decide that that's the way you want to be treated, power to you. But I promise you this, that will be the extremely, extremely small minority, like in maybe tens or something. And I mean tens, not tens of thousands, but like tens.
And then let me say this: if you're a feminist and you agree with the feminist movement in the United States, you can't pick and choose your definition of how you support women. You can't. If you're for women's rights, you're for women's rights around the world. You can't say, well, we're only for women's rights in the United States, in a democracy. But in a totalitarianism in the Middle East, we're okay with that. You can't pick and choose your definition of what feminism is. So either disband your organization or start working towards your mission statement.
There you go. Now you've heard it from the man. He told you what he thinks. Get it done.
That's right.
Anyways, okay, so what is our next topic?
Our third and final topic of our conversation is on Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. If you guys don't know who Ronda Rousey is by any chance, she is the UFC women's champion. She's extremely, extremely dominant, where most people are questioning whether she can even fight men. She is, and she's basically everywhere. She's going into movies now. She's just blowing up all over the place. So, what do you think of her?
I think Ronda Rousey is a freak of an athlete. It seems like she's getting better and better with each bout. I actually don't care for women's sports. I'll just throw it out there. I really don't. Well,
But do you like watching her fight?
I do. It's really exciting. I just can't believe how far advanced she is than any other women's fighter. It's just incredible, the skill, that the technique that she has, and the willpower, but she's also a real woman. You can tell she's very passionate about MMA, and she has real emotions. You don't see that from guys usually. She brings out the emotional aspect out into the public eye, where she was talking about how her prior opponent mentioned how pretty much was making fun of suicide, and her father committed suicide, and she was very upset by it. But you just you don't hear these type of occurrences, whether it's from men or women. It's just usually the focus is on the sport itself and the performance, and what she's going to do, or what they're going to do next. But she's very dynamic, and I can tell that this is who she is. She's a real person. It's not a facade, and I really do think she's great. She's just
Okay,
unbelievable
let me ask you this.
athlete.
What kind of effect do you think she's going to have on women's sports in general, or maybe just even MMA?
Well, she
what kind of
already has.
effect?
She already has a huge effect.
Aside from what she's already done, I'm saying, what kind of effect do you think is like in the long term? What kind of effect do you think?
Well,
like,
if she retires undefeated, I think her effect is going to be legendary. I think even now young girls want to be like her. They mimic her, and they think of her as an idol, even in MMA, where the sport is so premature. It's nowhere near to where boxing is, or any other major league sport. So I think girls, especially, maybe some women too, they look up to her, but they also see the character in Ronda Rousey, and that's what I see from her as a fighter that I don't see from any other fighter in MMA today. You see the emotional side. You see the drive. You see the perseverance. She's not only is she physically driven, she's emotionally driven, and it doesn't matter what stands in front of her. It seems like that she's somehow going to overcome that obstacle.
So what I'm getting is you like her, and she fits your 60-40. I'm guessing she's in the 40, right?
60-40, I'll say she's in the 40. I mean,
right, that's what I just said.
Well, maybe if she was in the 60, maybe I wouldn't be talking about her the same. But it's kind of hard for me to say that.
So
but she's a pretty woman? But
do you think she would have had the same impact if she wasn't as beautiful as she is?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think that looks play a big part in sports and politics, in Hollywood. If you're more, you easily want to relate to someone that is more attractive than as opposed to someone that is less attractive.
But it seems like that's more for women than it is for men, because if for men you want to be fearsome, it seems like. I mean, you look at some of the best and biggest fighters of all time, they were not necessarily the prettiest of men. I mean, Mike Tyson is not a horrible looking guy, but he's a guy who literally you look at, and especially he gets in the ring, most guys pee their pants, and that's sort of the intimidation factor. Whereas for women, and I have this feeling when I watch Ronda Rousey fight, it's a really weird feeling that I've never thought I would have, which is I'm watching the fight and I'm sort of hoping that she doesn't get hurt. And I've been watching boxing and been watching MMA for a long time at this point, and I've never had that feeling for any other fighter except her. She's the one that to me, I watch her in a different way, and And I think it's because she's a woman.
Oh, I'm sure you watch her in a different way. And you know, I'm hoping, well, you know, it's your business whether you go to the bathroom after that or not. You know, that's your business. But
I don't know what you're implying, but
I think you do. I think you do.
Amazing.
Well, she's amazing, but you know, let's not degrade her by saying that, you know, she's just a sexual object, because I
don't think we ever did.
Well, I don't know. They just
degrade her. I was saying that I wouldn't want her getting hurt because, like, literally, and this is not something that I'm actually thinking just like that. I'm like, this is just all of a sudden I noticed that I'm kind of like hesitant because when somebody throws a punch at her or something, because I'm sort of like, whoa, like, and it's because naturally I'm like, she's a woman, so that's the reason. It's not because she looks good. It's because of
the fact that she's a woman.
A woman, yeah, absolutely.
And she looks good. No. She's your type.
No.
And you would want for her to be your girlfriend.
I don't know if she could be my type.
And you would want for her to be your girlfriend. Let's just.
All right. Actually, I would absolutely would, but no, you can't say. I don't know if I could say she's my type because I've never dated a woman that's like her. So it's very hard for me to actually think that way. But she's absolutely beautiful and absolutely what I would want her to be my girlfriend.
She can take you down at any point of time.
Absolutely.
And
I wouldn't struggle at all.
You wouldn't struggle. That's true. You would not struggle. You could try to struggle.
You probably. I could see you struggling, but I think you would probably try to play hard to get. But eventually, she will break you.
I believe that she probably will break me one way or another.
Okay, I'll be broken. Okay. Aside from the jokes, do you think at this point she's had an influence on the sport where they're going to basically make a separate organization just for women and not combine the women and men fights?
No, I don't think that's such a good idea. For example, the
Well, maybe not right now necessarily, just because they don't have as many women.
No.
But if it starts growing more and more, can they really have 50-50 women and 50-50 men?
No, I don't think so. Like I said before, women and men will never be equal. Okay.
Well, it has nothing to do with that.
Well, I think it kind of does, because women are not sport oriented in majority of the time.
But we're not comparing.
Men are not going to be watching women.
We're not comparing a woman going up against a man here. What we're talking about simply is that if a woman competes versus a woman, and right now she's able to sell out her own mega fights, and there's another woman in another division, and she's doing pretty well for herself, where people want to see her fight as well. To say that somehow equality where men are stronger than women or anything I don't know how that even plays into it.
I'm not talking about the strength factor. Let me go back to my example about the WNBA. When the NBA decided to create the WNBA, they thought that the WNBA was going to be much more successful than it is now. It's just not doing as well, or even close to as well, as the NBA. And you can try to figure out for yourself the reason why. Why isn't it doing as well
as
simple.
The NBA? Hold on. Before you go on.
Women don't watch sports. Men do not want to watch women that look like men fight.
Okay,
it's
hold
on.
Hold on. Before you go, you basically gave a theory as to why WNBA isn't doing as well as NBA. The one thing is, first of all, when NBA started originally, it wasn't doing well. No sport, when it starts, does well. So how will the WNBA be 50 years from now? Now, that's a better question. And if it's still doing the same thing as it is now,
things change.
then
You're absolutely right.
But that's the thing. How can you possibly compare WNBA to NBA when NBA has been around for, 60, 70 years now at this point? The idea to compare is it's ridiculous. Why would you even do that? They're completely separate.
Going back to my point, and I see what you're saying. You make sense in that. But we're talking about women here, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you. Do you watch the WNBA?
No, I don't.
Why don't you watch the WNBA?
It just started. I don't care about it, and I watch the regular NBA.
Honestly, why don't you watch the WNBA?
You basically want me to say
no. I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
No, you're
in reality. So it's nothing to do with it.
It's not because I have no connection to them. It's a new sport. Like, I have literally no connection. If for example, there was a Ronda Rousey in there where I was like, wow, this woman, she's doing a 360 dunk. I'm like, I might check her out more often. I might get into it. I'm like, that's the team. Like, I might not know any other team, but I'm like, that's the team that she's in. So if you're really asking me that, that's the reason. It's a new sport. It's going to grow little by little. It will, the same way as NBA did, and it will have its Magic Johnson, will have its Michael Jordan, and will have those stars that will transcend the sport. But it needs time. The idea, whoever thought, and if anyone ever thought that WNBA is going to come out because NBA already exists, WNBA is going to be just as big, they're crazy. There's really no reason to ever think that. It's a new sport. Doesn't matter. Like, if there was a competition even to a competitor, not competition, but if there was a competitor to NBA right now, they came out and said, we're going to have 26 teams, we're going to have really great players, trust us, watch us. I wouldn't watch that because I have no connection to it. I'd still continue watching the NBA. They have the best players, and I know those teams, and I've been invested for so long, so I wouldn't watch the competitor for NBA. That's the same reason.
Well, I don't know. I think you're in the minority. Okay,
you think there would be other people who would?
I think
a competitor to NBA would be as big right away.
I'm not saying that. Well, all I'm saying is I think men do not want to watch women play sports unless the women are sexy. Just being honest, it is what it is. But at the same token, the other half of the population, women, don't want to watch period sports.
Right, but isn't
there's a huge problem here?
But don't you think it's because it hasn't been something that's around for them? Don't you think that if it was, meaning if women are born with women playing sports all the time, and there's like all these leagues and all that kind of stuff, don't you think that women would be like, you know what, I do want to watch women play sports?
I disagree. I really don't think so. Yet again, can that change? Sure. Will that change? Maybe.
I think the only way you could possibly compare WNBA to NBA is if you wait 50 years and compare it to where NBA was 50 years before that.
Let's wait for 50 years and come back and let's talk about it.
Let's just say I was right and you were wrong.
I will not say that. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Well, you can be surprised.
No, I'm surprised that you wouldn't admit that.
Well, you can be surprised.
Yeah, I am. Anyways. So,
but wait a second. We'll continue on the conversation about Ronda Rousey. What do you think? Do you think that she's going to meet her match?
Her match is waiting for her, and that's with Cyborg. Cyborg is the woman that's standing in front. I mean, when people
is she really a woman?
That's a hard question to answer. I mean, with so much that she's been caught with already. And the fact she definitely looks more masculine than anything. And her voice sounds masculine because of all the testosterone she's taken. So at this point, I don't know. I mean, she's, actually, I'm sure on paper she is, but I think her body structure has changed so much at this point.
Can we test her to see if she has testicles?
Well, you can, I'm sure. I'm sure they will allow you.
If I could do it, I'll do it.
I'm sure you could. By the way, you could be a official ball checker for the MMA if you want.
Well, on the women's side, not on the men's side, because
no.
I'm sure.
You gotta check. You gotta check both things. You gotta check both things.
What woman would go into MMA to fight men as a man? I don't know.
The woman that's really trying, a feminist,
cyborg,
a true feminist will do it. Okay. Feminists, if you're listening out there, that's exactly what you need to do. Join MMA and then prove to men that you're just as physically as strong.
That's true, I have to say. But by the way, also, if you're a feminist and you believe in the feminist movement, going back to that, because you made that statement, I will debate you any day of the week. Okay, you name it, I'm there. And let's see who wins. But I know you don't have the...
Debate me in what?
I know you have balls.
Wait, I missed. Debate me in what?
I'll debate a feminist in her own organization as to the issues that they're supposedly fighting for equality for women in the United States. I know you have the balls, but I don't think you're going to use them against me. So, but anyway, let's go back to the original topic.
Okay. You know what? Let's do this. Let's focus on what people have been asking for a while now, and that's about Ronda Rousey, and that is, can she really compete? I mean, she's so high above every woman that's out there, it's almost scary. But can she compete with a man? If there's a man who's her weight in her weight class, can she really compete with? Let's not say necessarily the champion in that weight class, but can she compete with an average MMA fighter in the UFC in her weight class? Can she compete with him and potentially beat him, or would it be a slaughter because he would just be physically stronger than her?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know. If I were to select a fighter that is averaged against her, I could probably tell you, more definitively if I do that. If it's just some random average guy fighter that has a really shitty record, and he's going up against Ronda Rousey, I mean, I probably would choose him over her, but I'm just being biased because I'm a guy. Let's just put it that way.
You finally admitted it.
Let's just make it the way it is, I don't see her beating him just based off of that. Now, if it's based off of skills and strength, but, to tell the truth, Ronda Rousey is improving her skills, but at the same token, she has bad knees and she has bad hands. So,
but you never see that during fights. She fights through whatever if she's feeling pain, she's fighting through it.
She fights through women throwing punches at her that are not landing. But
right, but men would try to do the same.
True, but what I'm trying to get at is one hit from a guy could potentially take her out. We don't know how.
Right, but what she does, remember this. What she does, I've seen basically all her fights at this point, and the one thing that she does is she doesn't really allow people to throw punches at her. I mean, she's exceptionally good at coming close to you and then taking you down. Now, she's faced Olympian level female woman fighter, whatever you want to call her, and there was no contest even there. So, and the thing is, the way she beats everyone is to such a high degree that I have to, in terms of strength, I don't think she's going to be able to match up well. But in terms of pure skill, I think she's going to be able to submit guys. And again, this is not the perfect example of things, but there's a video on YouTube. You could easily find it where she's rolling around with Luke Rockhold, who's actually fighting for the championship in the middleweight division, which is like a good like 30 pounds over her, maybe even more than that. And they were testing out, and basically they were in an armbar situation where she was doing everything she could to submit him, and he was doing everything using both of his hands to try to get her not to submit her, and he couldn't. With all his strength, with all the weight that he has over her, he wasn't able to do that. And she trains, remember this, she trains, if you guys know these guys, she trains with the Nick Diaz boys, well, the Diaz boys, I should say, and she's good. So I think that there's a really good chance that she can handle a guy in the division. I don't think she can handle the champion. I don't think she can handle any of the guys in the top 10, but I think she can handle pretty much every other guy below that.
I'll tell you this. She can probably take Mayweather. But yet again, he's not a MMA practitioner.
Right.
So pretty much anyone who's an MMA practitioner can take Mayweather. So
right.
I mean, that doesn't say much.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. If they're in a boxing ring, she gets killed in there, basically. If they're in a MMA match, she just literally runs up to him. He could run, he could duck as much as he wants at first, but she will take him down, and on the ground, it's not even a contest.
But why would you want to hurt such a pretty face?
Well, he's done it before.
He's hurt whose pretty face?
Like the woman that he dated or something, or his wife. He's been in jail for like wife beating and stuff. Like actually wife beating.
That's true.
So I mean, he's already had practice with women.
That's true. That's a little messed up, but I mean, I don't know too much about that. I'm not gonna go into it, but I see your point.
No, I mean, he served his time. I don't know if he denied it.
He did the crime, and he served his time.
Right.
But that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know if I would fight a woman. Even if
You
we're
would fight
matched,
a woman?
I don't know if I would fight a woman.
Well, I think most men are in that category in terms of they wouldn't fight a
Hey,
woman.
but if she,
We're not talking about like, let's pick a man and let's tell him to fight her. We're basically talking if it's possible for that. If in a fair fight, could a man beat her? That's in that certain category.
But it's interesting. If a woman beats a man, then he's a wimp,
Yes.
right? But if a man beats a woman, then pretty much, well, that's expected. He's a man.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, again,
There's always that double standard.
But that's the traditional way of thinking. That women traditionally do not fight. So for that reason, if you're a man and you hurt a woman, you hurt a woman. Doesn't matter what the situation was, you hurt a woman. And if she hurts you, then a woman doesn't fight. How could she possibly hurt you? And obviously, there's definitely a double standard going on there. But it is what it is, and it is changing. So women, seems like are learning more. And I don't know how much Ronda Rousey was influencing that, but there's that.
So, finalizing this conversation, do you believe that Ronda Rousey, if she fights Cyborg, that she's going to beat her?
Oh, that's a good question. I think she will. I personally think she has the skills, whereas the Cyborg lady has the strength. And I think that she's just not going to give her a chance to really utilize her strength, where she's going to ground and pound. I think she's going to just take her and submit her very quick.
Let's make this scenario where, let's say, Cyborg beats her.
Okay.
And then after the fight, maybe a month or so later, the results come out, or there's some video posted on YouTube where, it shows that she has, a penis and balls, and, she's really...
Is this after you checked, or is this before you checked?
Well, let's just say I did not check. Let's
okay,
just say
all
she...
right, okay, so
fine.
You weren't the checker then.
Let's say
okay, got it.
Let's just say she paid me off. Okay?
Paid you off, okay.
Paid me off not to check her.
All right, okay.
So, I have no clue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And turns out that she's actually a guy now.
Okay.
Is it legitimate victory?
No, of course not. Of course not. You have to... she is fighting for the women's... welterweight belt or something. So, it's the women's division.
No, I think it's bantamweight.
Okay, bantamweight. Whatever it is. If you're fighting for the woman's belt and you're not a woman, then obviously should absolutely not count. That would be ridiculous if they go, oh, well, you know what? You sort of look like a woman at a point.
Well, see, there you go, Ronda Rousey. This is your excuse, and you've been using it either way,
right,
without our creativity.
There you go.
So she has balls and she has a dick.
Well, okay. Until Vadim checks.
That's true. I may check, but if I get paid off, then, well, you won't know about it.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. This was our first podcast. Again, I'm Alex. This is Vadim, and we'll see you guys later.